now, it's time for the College of Ice with Brian Brosdahl and Steve Panaz.
Hey everybody, welcome to College of Ice. Thanks for joining us again tonight. You know, we're going to go to 2 shows per week starting next week. This Wednesday, we're going to be actually on the road. But after that, it's going to be every Sunday night and every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central. So it's pretty awesome. Hey, I want to bring Brian Brosdahl in here right away. Bro, I know you're in the land of making ice right now. And how you been the last week?
Oh, man, I'm telling you what. You start out in the morning and you've got ice, and then when the wind starts blowing, it's gone. I mean, it shreds it right up to shore. It's been 20, 30 mile an hour winds.
I've never seen anything like this. Have you?
No. You know, it's a tease, though, because the water's cold enough, and it's going to happen really fast. So the good news is if you could turn down the wind just a little bit, just turn that dial down, we're going to be making some really good ice everywhere.
Driving home today, it was blowing 30 from the west, and the truck was kind of going coming back. So, hey, Michelle Morey, great to see you. Hey, we had a big winner of the Frabill Prize Pack last week, and I wanted to congratulate Anthony Meadows. You know what he told me, bro, is he said he was so thrilled about it because he told his kids if he won, the kids were going to get part of the prize pack. So we didn't have just one happy camper this week. We had 4. And the good news is everybody listening tonight has a shot at winning that same prize pack, including this College of Ice, the College of Ice mug right here that you can use for whatever types of drinks that you're doing. But, hey, bro, how do people enter this contest tonight?
Hey, it's simple. All you got to do is comment, like, and share this episode, and drop us your questions during the show, and you're in to win.
We really want to get you guys involved in the show. So if you have questions or comments, one of the things I'd like to hear is if ice is starting to form where you guys live, let us know what's happening because we want to share information across the ice belt about what's going on. And it's very cool. John, it's great to see you here. Hey, bro. Hey, bro, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is knots. Which knots are you using on the ice most of the often? And which and why are you using them?
Hey, Justin and Jeff. I like to use the Palomar knot, because it's strong. But my favorites are probably the improved clinch because I can tie it with my eyes closed and I can tie it in any conditions. And as far as braid fluorocarbon, then I'll use the back-to-back uni. And I know the Albright stronger. But when my fingers are like sausages, I can't tie like a monkey in a football, right? I just can't do it. And so I like simple knots. And then loop knot is one of my favorites because it gets the bait to move a little bit. And, it's not – you didn't have it on Knot Wars or anything, and maybe it breaks easy. Just set your drag light. You get a lot of action. Just don't pull too hard.
It's funny, bro. When we were doing Knot Wars years back, we'd tie – literally thousands of knots, and you start seeing trends. A couple things that stood out with mono is if you have a knot that's not real strong, a lot of times when they're building mono, they don't get it. You've got portions of the line that are stronger and less strong. It almost fluctuates through. So break off a few feet and retie. But the other thing is I learned that if you go through the hook eye twice on most knots, you're going to see about a 10 to 12% jump in line strength and knot strength. And that's pretty impressive on some of the lighter lines.
Yeah, it really is. And, if you can improve it a little bit, especially if you're in a competition or you're in a little tournament or whatever, or if you're fishing a trophy lake that has big fish, you want to make every knot count. So, but if I'm doing 25 knots, 50 knots a day, I'm probably not going to do that.
I'm in the same boat, though. If a knot isn't really easy to tie, it's different than sitting at home and practicing a knot. But when you're out in the boat or on the ice and your hands aren't working, the conditions, the winds are blowing and things like that, it can be a little tough to tie. And it actually makes it easier not to go that route. So, and then have you tried other line-to-line knots before?
Oh, absolutely. There's so many. And I've actually followed that Knot Wars. And I always liked it because my picture is in every one of them. If you look at all of them, I'm holding a walleye in the background for Frabill. And
I didn't know that. I'm going to check these out when I get on.
not that I'm watching or anything, but I really was surprised at how there was ties in these knots, and it was very interesting. But I'm a creature of habits, and I've actually used the improved clinch, but I have one little cadence that I do different: the last loop twice to keep from slippage. So that's kind of my little experimental knot, and sometimes an extra loop. But I know 2 loops through the hook eye
Yeah.
definitely increases your chances, like we had talked earlier.
Especially with braid. A lot of times braid, everybody grew up fishing monofilament, at least from your generation and mine, where everybody's used to fishing monofilament. So when braid came out, and actually fluoro, we really had to learn how to retie knots, because you could, if you didn't wet a knot with fluoro, you're going to burn the line, you can break it. And braid, obviously very slippery too as well.
Absolutely, I agree. And there's a lot of times with really light line, 1, 2, 3 pound test, you can't take that risk. You can't do it with even 4 or 5 pound test. And I tend to use lighter line when I'm fishing walleyes. So, hey, Daryl, how you doing? Yeah, so it's all about making sure and like you say, moisten it so you don't burn the line.
So one thing to remember when you're doing a line-to-line knot, most of the times the knots are going to break at below the knot strength. So you're looking at about a 15 to 20% reduction with like the uni-to-uni knot. But on most good knots, if a line has got a rated strength of, say, 10-pound test, you're probably going to find knots that are going to break in that 13 to 15-pound range if it's a good knot. So that keep that stuff in mind as you're pulling forward. Hey, bro, we got some really awesome guests today coming in. One is Colt Ringer. He's with Aqua-Vu, and he's a new owner of the company, but they got some exciting new products. We also have Kyle Sorensen. He's a Frabill pro coming out of Wisconsin, which will be fun. And then we've got a buyer for Fleet Farm who's been with the company and buying tackle for us ice anglers for probably 2 decades now, and Brian Sticka. So it should be fun to really talk to these guys a little bit more. But so talk about ice conditions around home. How are things shaping up around home? I know the wind has been a problem, but where are you at with ice?
Well, all we need is if things to freeze. But now remember, the shallow ponds, swamps are froze over, and the duck lakes are froze over. And I noticed there's a zillion ducks around right now, but they're going to the open water. But the stuff you want to fish isn't froze, and that the wind is really ripping it apart. But anything with deep water is not quite there. But the water temperature cooled down finally after that big warm up we had. So, and I'm hearing the same all over the place. The water peaked up real high, and then it's dropping back down. So it's going to freeze really fast once we get stable, calm weather.
So if you had a chance to get your gear ready for this winter, I mean, what is your process for getting augers and rods and everything set up for the ice?
Well, I try to put on new line for sure, and just go through everything and make sure that everything's up to date. You don't want to use old mono or fluorocarbon, but sometimes braid you can strip a little off because braid is super strong. But just check, put some Sub-Zero lubricant on your. Yeah, good question. Yeah, I do that too sometimes for small ones, real micro stuff. But Frabill has Sub-Zero lubricant, and what it does keeps your reel moving without not being sluggish. You want it to be smooth in cold conditions. You take a high-end reel off the counter for summertime and you bring it to winter, they barely move, so very important. So you go through and check the grease so you don't have real thick grease in there. And then for the most part, I like to pack up an emergency pack of gear, and I have my edge boxes because we get a lot of micro pulverized snow that gets in our tackle box. So the edge boxes are full and ready to go.
That's awesome. So what's your favorite fish story? I know you've got a zillion of them, but is there one that stands out?
Let me take a deep breath. There's so many stories, but okay. I gotta say, one of my favorite stories is I took the office crew of North American fishermen out one time, and it was minus 30 below. And it was 20-mile-an-hour winds, and they bring some of their friends, and they had some guys from Missouri there. They thought they were crazy at first just to go out that, and I opened up the zipper of their tent to ask them how they're doing because it was sideways snow and nasty, and they're like, "How do we get out of here? We want to leave." I'm like, "What do you want to leave for?" the fish were biting, and I stuck my head in there, and it was just dripping in there, and they were shivering, and all their lines were frozen. I said, guys, you got to come over here. And so that's when the Frabill Artec first came out, the insulated houses. And they came to my house. It was dry in there. You could put your fingers on the ceiling, no condensation, and warm. And I said, have at it. And they had a blast. The fish were biting so good because we had a stable buildup in pressure. And then it was falling fast. And the wind was going nuts. And the fish, we caught largemouth bass, walleyes, lots of 10-inch to 11-inch bluegills, true pound to pound bluegills. Yeah. 15-inch crappies in a spot that's mainly perch and a few bluegills. It just went nuts. And I remember it was so nasty out that the trail filled in. And actually my dog got out. He likes to run ahead of the truck. And I just followed the dog, and he knew exactly where those tire prints. It was just white. I don't know how he could find it, but using the dog to find your way off is sometimes probably not as accurate as GPS, but
pre GPS. So an interesting thing about that story is you're one of the first guys I've ever talked to that really considered panfish to be of trophy size. So if a fish was 10-inch bluegill or a 14-inch, 15-inch, 16-inch crappie, those are fish that you've been historically releasing. And I think it's time for most anglers to consider that as well, because we put a lot of pressure on these big fish, and we want those genetics to stay in the lake.
Well, as we're becoming real educated in technology and everything, it's not about catching them, because we're going to catch them. It's what do you want to catch? And, a 9-inch bluegill is too big. Anything under 9, the fair game. But for a fork full of meat, I'm not going to wreck the lake. And so I personally won't keep a fish over 9, and a lot of people, but, the DNR's got a bluegill board that's coming up that's going to start looking at lakes, and that committee is actually going to make some leaps and bounds to help on saving some of them. Now, I'm not saying raining on anybody's fish fry if you like to keep a lot of fish, but let's have some lakes. Come on, for the future, for kids, let's have some lakes that we protect the trophies. And we know that if you take big bluegills out, that the lakes can stunt, and it's just not good. And take your kids fishing someday to experience what we got to see, the big bluegills. And I've been passionate about it since I was a kid. My dad taught me it, and we're odd ducks in that way, but I'm still talking about it today. And I think that it's about, letting go of them. And it's not that hard to let go of them. You just got to slap your friend's hand if they grab it too hard.
Hey, bro, did I ever tell you the story? I had a chance to fish in the World Ice Championships years ago in Finland.
Oh, cool.
And we got off the plane, and we had some local hosts to kind of show us the body of water and show us what tackle they're using. We're fishing similar species, a perch, a European perch over there, and a whitefish and things like that. But I got to show you, Kai, call up the photo of these rods, these little palm rods. I don't know if you've ever seen these, bro.
Yes.
But, yeah, so the one on the bottom was one I got from a Russian fisherman. The one in the middle was one that our Finnish guest gave us, and the one on top is another one that was real lightweight. But I got to show you how to reel this thing. Kai, go ahead. This is how small this thing is. I mean, here's my hand covers it, and this is how you reel it like this. It was super for super lightweight fish. I'll tell you what, we had a section in there. And there was an angler, a Russian angler, that was catching fish because he wasn't moving. And I looked over, and he had 38 fish, weighed 83 grams, and he took first place in the section. He was catching some things. But look at some of the baits that we're using. Kai, call this up. This bait in the lower right, that's a size 12 hook, a number 5 tungsten.
Oh my.
Look at the size. That bait up top is probably 20 times smaller. That's a size, I think it was a 28 or a 24. And you'll notice that all 3 of the baits had holes through the middle. So you actually run your line through the bait and then back up and tie onto the shank of the hook and on that sort of thing. But hey, we got Colt Ringer in the queue. Why don't we bring him in right away? He's the owner of Aqua-Vu Cameras. Colt, good to see you, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing good.
So, Colt, you've got quite a varied background. You're an entrepreneur, used to teach and all that. But the one thing that's constant is you're a very avid, passionate angler, especially with your kids, and it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, and like I said, it's been a great opportunity and a long road, and met a lot of great people, and happy to be in this position with a great company and just surrounded by good people again too.
That's awesome. So I know you got some exciting new products coming out, like the quad cam, and we're going to talk about those in a minute. But I wanted to ask both you and Bro, when do you guys go to cameras, underwater viewing, and what really have you learned? I guess, Colt, I'd like to start with you on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been using an underwater camera since I started 25 years ago when they first kind of came onto the market, and I've had them all. And it's amazing how much I've learned over time. So I've been a passionate user for, and viewing underwater footage. I just love it. I love going out and turning on, especially now hooking up the cameras to the big screen TVs in the fish houses and watching just the fish behavior, the reactions. I mean, there's just tons of stuff that I think the biggest thing I've learned the last couple of years is that fish will eat a lot of dead bait off the bottom.
That's actually true.
It's amazing.
So, Bro, I know you use cameras probably daily. What situations are you using cameras mostly, and which models are your favorites?
Well, I like to use the HD7, which is true HD, but it comes with all the attachments like this fin. So in open water, I can go pretty fast and it doesn't shake, and you can see a long way. So I could see what's down there. I can see if they're walleyes or other fish. And then in the wintertime, I absolutely love the Micro Revolution Pro. And the reason I do is because you got this micro camera to spy on the fish. They're less afraid of it. And then you can pull it off and reel it in like a reel. You don't get wet fingers. It's super high tech. It's like spy gadgetry, but it's also got a magnetic charger like a cell phone. This thing fits in your pocket. This little tiny thing's powerful, but you don't have to carry it around. You can wear it around. You just put it in this bag here, hands-free fishing. That's the thing I like about it, is you could fish and go from hole to hole, and you don't stop till you see fish. You drop the camera down. If you see fish, you stay. And then maybe put it in down view and watch them. And bluegills like to come in and just grab it. They don't quite have the hook. Wait a second, and they swallow it. Then you set the hook. That's the whole thing, is you see what's down there and you catch them.
So, Colt, not only has camera technology really improved, especially the light drawing and the number of pixels on the camera, and going from, say, 720 to 1080, true 1080, the lakes themselves are clearing with zebra mussels and pollution control. So this is really the dawn of an exciting time for underwater viewing, because you got great technology paired with clearer lakes. And I've used AquaView down as deep as 50, even 60 feet of water. And to be able to actually see that far down is extraordinary.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, coming into it, being the new owner, the innovation that with the technology and the improvement, along with the clarity of the water, has been something that we're really excited to continue to build on and grow. And there's just a lot more opportunities out there too. And like I said, we've got a great team that's working on the next generation of cameras as well as we speak. And it's just it's been fun, and it's only going to get better.
Talk to us a little bit about the quad cam. Explain what it is. We have a photo here that we're going to share with the group, but explain what's behind the entire thing, and really what led to this development.
Yeah, this is exciting technology, and like I said, with all the new sonar electronics, this is kind of our new one for the underwater camera. So it's a quad camera. It's got 4 cameras built in, so that you get a almost a 360 view of cameras with this is a 720 HD picture quality so you've got a full circle of where the fish are coming from, what they're doing. We've got our Mopod and everything for the current cameras. This one, you're going to be able to drop down and see everything that's coming around you without having to spin or move the camera. So we're super excited. So if you see something coming in, because a lot of times you'll see a pike coming in or a sunfish from one side.
Yeah.
It's got the ability to touch zoom so that you can blow up that one quadrant.
Wow.
Just be able to view, what's happening, coming in from your east, west, or whatever direction. So we're really excited. And then you can even touch zoom and zoom into that, just like we have on our 10 HDI Pro features. So we're really looking forward to bringing that to the market.
When is it coming to the market?
We're getting our first batch, hopefully this week, a very small shipment. And then the rest of them should be here the mid-December. So hopefully the wind will stop blowing and we'll be able to make the lights. And it should be perfect timing for this season.
It's interesting. Bro was talking about how some camera might spook a fish or two, and he likes the micro for it. I was on an open water trip years back fishing smallmouth, and we were catching lots of largemouth but no smallmouth, and I couldn't figure out why. So I dropped the camera, and I was with a guy from Bassmaster, and I looked down and I go, "There's a 3-pound smallmouth right there." And the camera slipped out of my hand, hit the bottom, and I threw up a big cloud of dust or whatever you want to call it. I pulled the camera up off the bottom, and that smallmouth was staring at the camera from about an inch away. And it was James Hall was with me, and James says, "Did you see that?" I says, "Yeah, let's try it again." So I hit the bottom on purpose, pulled it up, and then there was 2 smallmouth, and then 3, and then 4. And I said, "You know what this means, James?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm going to go to a 1-ounce drop shot weight." So we had fun.
I've actually had bass on those in the past where on the micro, you just see a bass coming up, and then all of a sudden it's gone, and you see tonsils, you see the gills. And then next thing you know, the good thing about the Revolution is you can unspool it and get ready, because when they're running, it's like a tip-up. And I've fought fish for a long time, and I'll tell you, the cord is really strong. And I fought 2 big bass one day on that camera, and they're not afraid of it. That it's actually an attractant.
Yeah, it's pretty
we
cool.
see a lot of fish, especially panfish too, will come in and check it out. If you drop it, in a hole and you're close to them, they'll come, and sunfish will come and just nose right into it, and pike will come and bump it, and it's neat to see and neat to watch them do, react.
When I was at Green Bay over by Stroshine's place there, and you see a lot of depth finders or people without depth finders. I put the camera in the hole, and I only put it down a few inches below the ice, and I could see the water so clear. That's definitely a camera area, and I think they should be using them more, because I could see what swam through. And everybody said there was lines, but you could see 2 walleyes and then a bunch of whitefish. So the moral of the story is you'll see more if you put it down, but you don't have to put it all the way down.
Bro, you bring up a good point, because the classic view for underwater viewing is like it's right over your shoulder, Colt. It's a side horizontal to bottom view, but there's times when viewing straight down is actually more efficient. And how many of the pros on the Aqua-Vu team, Colt, are using the down viewing technique?
Quite a few, and that's what's nice about that positioning fin. So you can, and a lot of them like that, get that camera almost to the bottom, set it on the bottom, and have that 45-degree going up. So, it's almost, they're coming in up top, their eyes are on top of their head. It's another different angle, that we've heard from a lot of our pros that they like, as well as the down viewing.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, especially late season, a lot of times these fish will ride right up under the ice, and actually up viewing is better for viewing fish than any other method. It's actually pretty deadly. So what other new products do you have coming out that you're excited about that maybe you could share with the guys and the gals listening tonight? Sure.
Like I said, the Quad is the one that's coming, and it's on, should be in our warehouse mid-December. We have a bite light that's coming as well. I think it looks like my TV shut off in my background behind me. I'm in my fish house watching footage from last year. But we have a bite light coming that takes some of that snowstorm halo effect out as an accessory. That's pretty exciting. And we have a mobile recording device that we're really excited about that hopefully will be here by January, we're thinking. So
that's
not quite ready, but it's just the ability to record and share more of the underwater footage with your buddies and tease them when they're at work or when they're working from home, I guess, these days. But
yeah.
So if somebody wants to buy one of the quad cams, get one of the first ones that come out, is there a waiting list, or how are you guys handling that side?
That's what we're just starting. So we're just building that page out. We've got a landing page built where you can enter your email address, and we'll have that up and we can share that socially, but check our social feeds. We'll send that out, and we'll send you an email when we're ready to we're confident we've got them, and we'll put them for sale on our website, and we'll notify you that way.
Bro, I know you're number 1 on the list after Colt, and then I'm number 2. So there's whatever follows after that, I think was good.
Oh, that's great. Seeing that quad.
Yeah, look forward to it. Well, Colt, hey, we really thank you coming by the College of Ice. You're closer to graduation than you were 15 minutes ago. So thank you for stopping by and sharing the news. And what is the website for AquaView so people can check it out?
Yep, it's AquaView. That's VU.com. Right on Bro's shirt there.
Awesome. Awesome. Colt, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the show, and good luck. And good luck to everybody out in the audience.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Colt.
Bro, it's really amazing how AquaView, I mean, the technology has changed so much in the last 20 years, just for the light gathering and the water clarity and stuff. It's pretty amazing. So, hey, we've got in-house Kyle Sorensen. He's a Frabill pro out of Wisconsin, and I'd like to bring him in. He's one of these guys that's super aggressive.
What's going on, guys?
How you doing? I know you guys know each other real well. I think you've been on the ice together, haven't you?
I've had him.
Yeah. That was a fun time, bro. How are you doing, Steve?
Doing well. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, bro, I know you're really big on running and gunning, and Kyle, I know you use it a lot on Winnebago. Talk a little bit about what is running and gunning, how you use it, and why do you use it on Bago so often?
Yeah, Bago is just a massive, massive body of water. The whole system as a whole, it really is. And it's a big basin type, system that has, real shallow flats for the most part throughout the upper lakes, especially. And, we're, constantly on the move, ripping holes, one here, one there, sometimes utilizing a grid technique to, eliminate water to find an active school of fish. And when we find one of these schools of fish, sometimes we'll get lucky. And, the reason why we keep on going is because we're looking for the mega school. The mega school can have the walleyes, the white bass, crappies, perch, you name it, all mixed in there. And you can have a very fun fishing adventure underneath your ice hole, let me tell you.
So when you say you're ripping holes, how many holes are you cutting? Are you cutting them in a single file line, or how take me through that side of it?
Well, it all depends. I mean, eliminating water is the key. So the most efficient way and the best way that you can go about and eliminate water is going to be the right, passage for that day. Maybe have multiple people with you that can help, eliminate that water, and utilizing a grid technique and, frog jumping or hopping over each other definitely can work out. Or if you're by yourself, I mean, you could just be throwing darts at a board at some days, and I'd be sitting here, joking with everyone if I said, it only takes one hole to be successful. But sometimes you can rip 100 holes, if not more, making long moves and whatnot, just to try to, get one mark, So that's the Winnebago system, as a whole right there.
Shallower than, it doesn't have any deep holes. So the fish, there's no way to corner them. They just go wherever they want.
Exactly. And like you said the other night, bro, just, drilling holes that noise, if you have multiple people in there, or multiple holes being ripped, it can really spook fish. It really can. So, hiding out in a shelter and, being mobile is definitely key, especially on the Lake Winnebago system.
Hey, bro, I was going to ask you, you use running and gunning a lot on the waters of water you're fishing, especially like Leech and Winnie and things like that. But that might be a little bit different approach than what Kyle's talking about. Kind of take me through that for yourself.
Well, it's important because it's big water, and a lot of times on Leech Lake, there's Cara flats, and Cara is a skeletal fragmented grass that doesn't have any roots. So it actually pillows up, and walleyes and perch will be in this stuff searching for crayfish because it holds them. And you could go past the Cara flats. So you got to remember there's only so much space you could fish. You just got to work those edges. So you drill. It might be a mile long, might be 2 miles long, but you can go past it. So you got to be mindful of that. Then on Winnie, massive mud flats, but they're holding to this little trench between two humps or this little saddle, and you'll find 3 fish here, 3 fish, and then over here you'll find 10,000, and you back out of there like it's Noah's Ark, and so there's stuff like that. but the real thing is you find them, but you don't want to go past the areas. And I see that all the time up here is everybody just drills to the other side and said, where are they?
So Kyle, I know your fish house choice is based really on mobility. Which house is the one that which house are you using most often and why?
Well, going into this year here with the new 115 that came out, I mean, this is like my ultimate shack here. I mean, this one that literally it's all a fixed pole design structure. Usually when I'm out, hopping around, being mobile out there, running, gunning, as we've been talking about, speed is key. And being effective and efficient on the ice is the ultimate thing that you need. And by having a fixed pole design like the 115, the Ice Hunter 115, you're just popping it up, get out of those conditions, to take a little break, warm up a little bit, and then flipping it back down to continue on. Like I said before, it'd be nice to rip one hole and, have the flasher lit up like a Christmas tree, but that usually doesn't happen. So sometimes after those long days, being able just to flip up the shack, not have to fumble around with any little nubs or, extenders or whatnot on those poles, it really helps to be, like I said, effective and efficient.
Nice thing too is a lot of times when you're in a fish house, nobody outside knows what you're catching. Yeah, so that's kind of fun as well. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. And pop back off there. Hopefully I came back on there.
Yeah. So in terms of lures, I know you're a big fan of a lot of the horizontal baits. What are you rigging them with live bait? Or are you fishing them naked? And what colors, what sizes are your favorites?
Up here, and I rely greatly on my presentation, and the bait selection. The big thing are swim baits. The jig and wraps, the puppet minnows and stuff like that. Huge. And 90% of the time, 95% of the time, I'm not using any type of live bait, and I'm relying solely on my presentations. Like we were talking before, a real aggressive presentation, and a flurry, flee, and give up is what I like to call the presentation on these baits. But I always have plastics and especially spikes with me, because if I have to switch to like a buckshot rattle spoon or something like that, I have that ability right there. And that it doesn't just work on the Lake Winnebago system. It's a variety of areas that I like these. But I have my Plano Edge, the 3600, just loaded full of jig and wraps and spoons, pimples too. Pimples are awesome, and cast masters too. Just the whole gamut at the ready, because you never know what these fish are going to want. And if you're on Lake Winnebago especially, and you land on an active white bass school, I mean, those white bass, they will hit practically a piece of yarn if you move it right. But getting at those, the jig and wraps and whatnot for those walleyes, and trying to have that ability to, have that scent, that live bait at the ready, sometimes, is the difference between having a successful day and not so successful day.
Bro, are you a fan of live bait when you're fishing, like the puppet minnow and things?
I always bring live bait because I got to produce fish every day, and so I bring live bait, and I bring a little bit of everything. And I got my Magnum bait stations. I've got minnow heads already pre-cut in my pocket. Even tails work sometimes. But buckshot, rattle spoon, rattle and puppet this year, a fire belly, a buckshot fire belly spoon is going to be really good. Worked last year, the prototypes, and that's what I'm running and gunning with most of the time. And I do catch fish on spoons without any bait, and sometimes I catch them on the rattle and puppets without any bait. But most of the time, I'll have minnow heads ready to go. But sometimes I'd like to have a minnow down there swimming, and that's the important thing. And the right action rods too, is important. And what do you use? What kind of rods do you use when you're out there most of the time running and gunning? Which Frabill rods?
Oh, I totally dig anything in the 28-inch medium category. I got this old, this old Frabill. I mean, this thing has gone through, I don't know how many fish here on the Lake Winnebago system over like almost maybe 8 years, I'd say. And it just won't die. It's missing paint and everything on there. Okay. So, I mean, I have this with me every single time, but I've been using the Arctic Fire, a real cost efficient, combo and stuff like that. Last year, especially, hooked in some really nice eyes on the upper lakes around here in the North Woods of Wisconsin, on top of it and whatnot. And again, that 28-inch, medium action for, those number 5 Jigging Raps or the bigger spoons. And then, even the medium lights. Like I have a sniper here, a couple snipers that have worked out great for the smaller puppet minnows and Jigging Raps, those number 2s and whatnot and stuff like that. So all in all, I mean, just having a bunch of combos at the ready is, to switch up real quick is, and having that feel is, something that I really like,
I got a quick question. Could you tell us about OB Outdoors?
Oh, Old Baby, right? The Old Baby and Old Baby. That is where it's at right there. I like to consider myself the Lake Winnebago Systems free guide out here. Anytime I'm out fishing, I don't do any actual guiding or anything like that. But anytime I'm out fishing, my cameras are with me. And I'm making videos, whether it's on that day's trip or the equipment that I'm utilizing. The last 3 days, and big shout out to my wife. She let me play on the computer, and we've got 6 videos at the ready going up to the YouTube channel.
Nice.
So can't wait for that. But yeah, it's just a fun, I guess, working hobby, so to speak, right?
That's really great.
So, bro, I was going to ask both of you guys, is line choice, what are you guys using with the horizontal baits in terms of the jigs? Are you using fluoro, mono, braid, combination of two? What's your favorite?
All fluoro. It's all fluoro in the wintertime for me because fluoro is the sink rate line. So I'm fishing straight up and down on fluoro. Braid, it's nice, but if you're outside, it has air pockets in it, so you can see it on your depth finder. It's kind of distracting, but it's really nice if you're inside, and it does wake up water and freezes your eyes up. So you got to watch that. But braid is obviously really nice, but fluorocarbon on almost everything. And if I'm on Winnebago, I'm using lighter rods than you because I'm fishing bluegills out there and perch. And that, we don't want to talk about the bluegills out there, but it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I could agree more. Fluorocarbon, all my rods, 100% fluorocarbon on it. The only thing that I add to them, depending on, the size of lure that I'm running, is just a barrel swivel mixed in, on there to help with some line twist. At least with, I've got a pretty aggressive hook set. I've known to break a couple rods, but that one is still surviving, let me tell you. But, that it's definitely fluorocarbon in my book between that 4, maybe even 6 pound, pushing up there, depending on, how big the lure is,
What's the average walleye size? Could I ask that real quick here just to see?
I'd say, right in the teens, the upper teens would be, I wouldn't say an average, but we've been getting a whole lot of different year classes, and it's been fluctuating quite a bit here. And especially this year with the bait and the forage going around in the systems and whatnot, the sheep's head, the freshwater drum, whatever you want to call it, that has been a big forage base the last 2 years now, pushing up from the actual shad base that was in the system. So it all goes with that growth rate and the type of forage that they're chasing. What we've been seeing.
How big can you get them there? I mean, what have you seen it through the ice?
Upper 20s for sure.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't say that this, the Lake Winnebago system is a trophy potential by, any means. There are bigger fish in here. There definitely are some quality fish in the system, but you're not going to get that size, that caliber that you would just a stone's throw away up at Dale's place up there in Sturgeon Bay.
Yep.
Cool.
Just remember to tune in right now and ask questions, and you could win. So this is a good time to start asking questions.
That's awesome. Hey, I did want to ask both you guys, it seems like when using rattle baits, especially spoons, that there's a cadence that really works with rattles. And it seems like some guys and gals can perform magic with these baits, and other people struggle with it. So, bro, talk to me a little bit about your jig stroke when you're using like a buckshot. And Kyle, same thing. I mean, what does the jig stroke look like for you guys?
Well, I like to start with a sweep, but not ripping it unless the fish are in that mood. If you got the right pressure system, the right everything, then you could rip it and they have to catch it. But just to get their attention, to draw them over, if I'm in a murky lake or even in a clear lake, it's more subtle. Like Leech Lake's gin clear, and they'll swim right up to it. And just subtle movements, and you got to make them stop it. So you're getting it, just keep moving it, and they want to look at it, and they don't have hands, so they got to grab it. And so that's kind of what I do.
Yeah. How about you, Kyle?
Well, I mean, I like to call it, as I kind of alluded to before, the flurry, flee, and give up type. I'm ripping these jig and wraps or puppet minnows or spoons, depending on what I'm utilizing, just with a hard vibration, trying to call those fish in, just playing with that lateral line, and just playing with those fish. And as I start, if I'm lucky enough to bring some fish in and I'm getting some marks, I'm going to slowly start popping, that rod up, slowly start popping up, making it chase. Sometimes giving up at the top if they're not committing, going right back down, starting all over again. But especially when we start fishing these schools around here, by me here, they're definitely, if I'll have one mark, or two marks or something like that, I'll play with them for a while. Playing with them for a while to get that slurry going, and that slurry will bring in more fish because it's that feeding frenzy. I'm going to eat before you're going to eat type mentality.
That's awesome. Hey, Kyle, I'd really like to thank you for stopping by College of Ice tonight. One of these days, we're going to get you one of these mugs, huh, bro? Make sure you get one. So, hey, good luck fishing. Have you guys got any ice local waters yet?
We did have a little skim, and then off it went in 70-degree weather. I wasn't too rough on that, but hey, today we had some pretty gnarly winds, 45-mile-an-hour gusts and whatnot. So it's coming. Can't wait. So,
well, Kyle, good luck this season. Thanks again for stopping by.
See you later,
guys. We'll see you.
See you later. Hey, bro, one of the things I wanted to talk about before we bring in Brian Stypka is some of the hot new products out there. And really, a lot of anglers, especially ice anglers, go into the store and they try to decide, should I go to a hub-style house or should I go to a flip-over style house? And why should I go one way or the other? Talk a little bit about the Frabill Fortress. It's a hub-style house. Talk about the benefits of a hub and specifically the benefits of that new design with the Frabill Fortress.
Well, a hub style house is the maximum footprint for a smaller amount of money. But in that house, you get like the XL has 100 square feet. It's big, it's roomy, it's cool looking with the camo pattern. It's a sharp house, but it's strong. It doesn't just cave in with the wind because it has a kick out bottom, so it's super sturdy and has tremendous amount of room. You could have a square dance in there, but not that we're dancing in there, but you could fish with your Aqua-Vu, your Humminbirds. You could have multiple holes and you never tangle. And the thing is, the hub houses, when they first come out, I was a little bit of a skeptic because it's a light house and you don't even have to tie this one down. Well, today you would have, but most of the time,
yeah.
Right down. You could just drill in one bolt and you're set. But I hardly ever tie them down, and I really don't have to. And they got the inner pocket which folds out on the ice, so you don't have to set stuff on the ice. If you want to keep something off the ice, there's those little corners you could set stuff. It's really a great design. It's over the top engineering. But I use flip style houses to run around, and Heather and I love these Frabill. With 100 square feet of room, you could fight a sturgeon and land it in there and shoot stuff.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's nice to have the room. The nice thing about the hub is it's the old style hubs. You pulled the sides out and it was like a cube, and it came in at the bottom and this now goes out, so you get about a 55% more fishable space in the same design house. And the nice thing is, that XL, you can fish 4 or 5 anglers in there, and it weighs 47 pounds, so it's small enough package. You could throw it in the back of a small car or a small SUV. You don't need a large pickup truck or a trailer to get them on the ice. But then again, I'm still a real big fan of the flip over style house, especially the one with sidestep technology on it.
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to step over the heater out the front door. And Frabill was the first in this technology. And the neat thing about it is you have that flat front wall, so you have the max amount of space. You have a great footprint to lay out your holes, to have a heater, to have your electronics, and if you got to go outside to grab something out of the truck, you just go out your door. You're not imposing on your friend. And how many times have people caved in your hole as they're stepping out? It ain't gonna happen. They'd have to go out of their way, cave in your hole, and then go out their door. It doesn't happen with a sidestep. They're awesome.
Well, the nice thing about the sidestep too is you're not walking by your heater. I don't know how many pair of bibs I've burned over the years, but the nice thing is now you can slide out. Hey, we've had a couple questions on size of fish holes, and I'm a big fan of for the average day. If I'm going out crappie fishing or walleye fishing or pike fishing, I'm cutting an 8-inch hole. I like the 6-inch when I'm fishing more of the directed at panfish, and then 10-inch obviously if you're targeting big pike and lake trout and stuff. But what size are you using most often?
Great question, Michelle. I was just going to say, a lot of times I'm running and gunning, and I got razor now. I could use a 4-inch bit to find fish dropping cameras, just drilling that hole, and you screw the chuck, throw in an 8, and you're set. But if I'm going to fish for bluegills, crappies, perch, a 6-inch hole, and now these drill bits ain't that big. You could have multiple drill bits, and when I have kids around, if you got kids, a 6-inch hole is plenty. I've pulled up 29, 30-inch walleyes out of the hole. You just got to tip that submarine up. And then once you get it going, they almost jump out onto the ice. But kids, they'll lose their boot down that hole. And I've seen that before where their foot goes down, but they come up without a boot. Well, that's kind of a hard day for them, so that it's game over, So a 6-inch hole, if there's kids around, it's just a way to go. But I'm telling you, the razor has micro stuff, so you could use a little bit of everything.
Yeah, the nice thing too about going electric is that you don't have the pain of gas and mixing, and you don't have to worry about it spilling on the back of the vehicle and stuff like that. And that Razor Scout, I mean, the thing weighs a couple pounds, and it's so easy to move around and so powerful. So it's kind of fun. So, hey, we've got Brian Stitka with Fleet Farm in the queue. I'd like to bring Brian up. He's been the tackle buyer for Fleet Farm for decades now. And I really wanted to talk to him, bro, about really some of the trends in fishing. So, Kai, go ahead and bring Brian in. Brian, how are you?
There he is. How you doing? Hey, we're good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I suspect you were out in the deer woods this weekend. Did you see anything?
I did not see anything, and today was too windy, so I stayed home.
Oh, awesome. So, Brian, on Tuesday night, my wife shocked me at dinner. She said, "Would you take me deer hunting?" Saturday afternoon, a big 10-point walked by us at 50 yards, and she got her first deer this weekend. So, unbelievable. So, it's really kind of cool. So, hey, I wanted to talk to you about trends in ice fishing. I know you've been a tackle buyer for Fleet Farm, and Fleet Farm has done such a great job in making sure that the tackle selection for the area is the right gear for the right time and great color selections and that kind of stuff. But how do you kind of take us through the process? How do you determine what to buy and what to carry in your individual stores?
I think there's a lot of different factors that go into it. First of all, we partner up with a lot of good suppliers like Frable, and we really rely on guys like Bro and your pro staff. Any information your sales reps bring back to us. A lot of us buyers back in the office are users ourselves. And we also, some of my best friends all hunt and fish, and they're not afraid to tell me what's going on in a good way and in a bad way. And you just absorb as much information as you can and make your decisions based on that. I think too often we ignore what the fishermen tell us. And at the end of the day, they're going to make the buying decision and use what they want to use. So it's important to listen.
So Frable was really one of the first to come out with ice combos. Do you remember back in the day when that came, and what was your thought process when they came out?
I was thinking about that this afternoon, and when I started buying ice fishing, there wasn't too many combos over $19.99. Maybe there was a St. Croix up there at $50 or so, and then everybody looked at it and reached for the stars. And the good news is that all these suppliers have really stepped up the offering as far as what we can use to ice fish with, and the quality is so much better, and really the experience becomes better because of that. You don't have as many issues, so better drags helps us catch more fish. The introduction of the straight line, I personally got it, it's been out for, 5, 6 years, 7 years. I personally got into that about 3 years ago. Fish right now, I just love it.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Until you use it, you you don't really see the difference. And, the result is you do catch bigger fish with it because you're doing it the right way. So,
Bro, you're not a fan of the straight line, are you?
Oh yeah, I mean, we needed one for. I remember seeing fly reels on Mille Lacs over 30 years ago, and they're fishing walleyes and for no spin. So it's a long time coming. But I got to say, the selection at I'm sorry, Fleet Farm. That's how long I've been there. I've been going to those stores, but at Fleet Farm is ginormous, and it is a monstrous place. And if you can't find it in there, it's not available probably because it's just giant, and that's a lot of stuff to keep track of.
the one thing that, bro, I won't buy an inline combo unless it has your name on it.
I love it.
So, Brian, looking back, say 20, 25 years and looking at today's tackle, I mean, what are the biggest changes that you've seen in the gear that ice fishermen are using?
Technology is one, and we could talk about that all day long, so I'm going to skip over that one. Ice houses. The cool thing today is everybody's, pimping them out like a car or a boat. They're putting the lights on and everything that makes it easier for them to fish with. And at the end of the day, it doesn't cost them that much money to do it. And the ice fishing the guy or gal, they're gadget people to begin with. The more toys that you can find to put on that stuff, it seems like the more that they like. So, but it's good stuff too. I mean, otherwise you got to bring a flashlight, and it's stuff like that. Ice augers, back in the day it was only gas augers. There were a couple electrics out there, and then next was all the propane, and now the big switch is all to electric. So I think there's still applications for each one depending upon, you mentioned Dale before. If I was fishing Sturgeon Bay, I'd probably still take a gas auger up there. But for the run and gun guys, and especially early in the year, the electric is lighter, the way to go. You're not going to spill any gas in your truck. We talked about the combos, and talk about lures. Tungsten made us all better fishermen. It was kind of funny, one of the companies introduced tungsten for spring. I didn't think it really made any sense, but as the learning curve goes on and fishermen fish different, they find different uses for it. Fishing line, I heard you guys talking about fluoro. I don't know anybody that doesn't use fluoro, at least for the leaders anymore today. And why wouldn't you? So there's been a lot of good changes, but I'd say mostly the better product that we have to offer from all these different suppliers, and just the great ideas that come out from people that fish.
Hey, bro, I wanted to ask you a question, and Brian, I'd like you to kind of tune in us as well. But 20 years ago it was all lead, and now tungsten's taken over. Bro, when do you see lead being the better choice than tungsten, and when's tungsten a better choice than lead?
Well, tungsten is 30% faster fall rate than lead, and there's times where you don't need to fall fast. If the fish are down there but they're not biting really good, you don't need to drop it fast anyway. And a lot of times I drop it halfway down and slowly bring it to them and try to get crappies to come up higher, or get the perch to swim around when their fin pops up. Then you could drop it in and you got them. But tungsten is nice if you're fishing fast deep and you're just covering holes. But if you're on the spot, I don't know. Lead's pretty still. I'm fine with either. Be honest with you, because I don't need to drop it in like a mushroom cloud. Hey, Greg.
Greg, good to see you. Ryan, how about yourself? I mean, are you seeing a lot of consumer acceptance of tungsten, even at the higher price points?
I would say, especially in the ice fishing that we do, and I think Bro hit on it. Those fish are only underneath you for so long. So if you want to get back to them fast, tungsten's the way to go. And I think people realize today that the busier you can keep that school of fish, the longer that they stick around. So
that's awesome.
Make money when the shining.
Yeah. So what do you see next coming around the corner? Anything big that is brewing behind the scenes? Do you see anything in shelters or augers or baits or lines or anything along those lines?
I'd say that, the biggest one again is the electric and all the different carried a model or two, and now there really isn't a auger company that doesn't have one. And then just, the lightweight of the portability.
Yeah. Just makes it more fun and easier to get out. So, well, awesome. Hey, thank you for the great job you do as a fisherman. It's awesome to go into a store and have what you need. And so thank you. And thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you guys. And I just want to thank Bro for what he's done for the industry in the past by going out and visiting all these locations and stuff. It really does make a difference to our.
My pleasure. I've enjoyed it, and I love meeting people right where they live. It's so much fun, and I've been doing it, and I've been talking to you for over 20 years, so it's been great.
Well, thanks. Thank you guys for inviting me. You have a great evening.
Good
Awesome.
luck.
Good luck. Good luck. Thank you. Well, Bro, we've had a lot of comments tonight. We got to pick this winner for the Frabill Pies pack, including the mug and $165 worth of stuff. But if there was a question or two, I've tried to keep up with them. Had so many comments and so many checking in. But if there's a great question right here, I wanted to, Jamie Siegel, what weight tungsten do you recommend?
Oh, I like the heaviest thing I can find. It doesn't matter if I'm going to use tungsten at all. I want something heavy, so I want something that's at least not an eighth ounce, maybe a 16th at the most, and sometimes 32nd. But you start getting into the super micro stuff, it's that doesn't really matter anyway for me. But just heavy. And
Tony asked a question. I was just going to lead into it. In terms of colors, what are you finding that the colors that you're turning to? Are you going to glows? Are you going to some of the phosphorescent type stuff? Just the main colors? Where are you sitting on colors lately?
That's a great question, Tony. I really like to start out with if I'm in a dark lake, sometimes I like glow, but I like dark colors like purples, black, something that silhouettes. And I think silhouetting is just as important as sticking out like a neon ball. But like with the buckshot rattle spoon going to the light stick, it is so important to have glow now in some lakes like Red Lake, Lake of the Woods. I'm sure Winnebago would be a great thing. And then as far as months, when the fish are hot and heavy, UV draws them in from a distance, and UV has proven itself in tournaments. So I think it's very important to remember UV, glow, light sticks, and then sometimes simple natural colors work really well, but darker, and it's all about getting above the fish, not just right at them and silhouetting. So that's a very important thing.
One of the things I've learned, especially with Lake Commandos, is a lot of times a different color will make a difference. But if you're all using the same exact bait, lure, color, you're not going to find what's working best as fast. So how do you handle that? I mean, are you putting your clients, are you putting them on with 3 or 4 different colors to start the day, or how are you doing that?
I get to cheat because with all of them, they're all like experiment. No, I give them what worked yesterday, and my line is the experimental line, and I'm watching lures all day long. And a great question too. And I hook the minnow through the top of the nose down, and snip the body off if I'm using a spoon. But if I'm using a live bait minnow, then I'll hook it through the back. And some tough times, use a dropper on your buckshot spoons. Just tie a little line with a little Gamakatsu hook and hook the minnow through the back. And the spoon is moving, but the minnow's fighting it. And the fish will come in. They understand, that's the light, and that's the bait, so they know what to do.
So, Brian, how often do you find color changes? I mean, if you got somebody using 4 different colors, I mean, do you find one that's deadly that day that maybe not that was the hot bait or not the hot bait the day before?
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes it's not even color; it's barring. Like if the walleyes are crunching perch, and you have the black bars on the buckshot, it's a big thing. A lot of times it goes back to depending on the body of water I'm on. If we always have our favorite, I have my favorites, but I gotta forget that. I don't want a preconceived notion. I always start with every color because I've learned that the lakes are different every year, and I've seen it on leech where they want glow perch, they want gold perch, and then the next year we're killing them on pink. and then the following year they don't touch that. They want something else or blue and glow. So it's always important to keep changing and don't get complacent. That's why I like to have a bunch of lines. And if I'm not guiding, I always have someone that wants to go. I just have to find people that won't have my spot as their new favorite spot.
That's a tough one. Hey, bro, we're running out of time, but I want to remind everybody that we're going to be on next Sunday, the 22nd. We have a very special guest coming in on Sunday, and you guys know him as KVD. It's Kevin Van Dam. He's very famous bass angler. He's been Bass Angler of the Year a number of times, but he's also an ice fisherman, and I'm really interested to ask him how he builds patterns on open water and how maybe that applies on ice as well. And,
Super cool.
Yeah. And we also got Chris Russell, marketing director for Frabill and Plano. He's going to come on board. Looking forward to working with him. And
he's a hardcore angler. He's a hardcore angler, salt or ice. The guy really goes after it.
Yeah, he's a fun guy. I've been in the boat with him and on the ice with him as well. So that's kind of cool. And we got Patrick White with Past Bro Shop. So
oh yeah. Great guy.
Yeah. Hey, on behalf of Bro and myself, all of us at College of Ice, thank you for tuning in tonight. Bro and I are gonna back off the program here for just a second. We're gonna pick a winner for the Frabill prize pack. So a lucky winner. So please stick around for a couple minutes and we'll see who's the winner. All right.
Like and share.
Great, Bro, great information tonight. And thanks so much, man. We'll see you next Tuesday or next Sunday.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys. Hey guys, Bro, we've had a chance to select a winner, and it's Jamie Siegel. I'd like to thank Jamie. He was very active tonight on the show.
Right. Way to go. Congratulations. You're the winner. And everybody remember, be safe when you're going on early ice. Safety. Remember everything we said in the past episodes.
That's awesome. Jamie, just reach out via private message, send us your address, and we'll pass it on to the guys at Frabill. We'll get you a new thing. But hey, everybody, thanks again for tuning in tonight. And really play it safe in the coming weeks. And we're looking forward to talking ice twice a week going forward, starting at a week from this week. Bro, have a great week. We'll talk to you as soon as I get back from Montana, man.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for watching this week's College of Ice. Stay tuned for all new episodes coming up.